If your studying is not planned, your GCSE and your A-level grades will be capped, no matter how hard you try. So in this video today, I'll be breaking down the exact time management system that I use for helping me get 3 A stars at A-level, and that's helped me get into Imperial to study maths starting in a couple of weeks. My system is step-by-step and easy to follow, and if you do follow this properly, I can guarantee you it will seriously level up your grades. One quick thing before we begin, only for those who are really serious about getting into a dream university and getting the best grades possible. Down below, top link in my description, is access to my 90-minute masterclass that I provide you with the only revision system that you ever need to use to get your dream grades and to hopefully get you into your dream university as well. So if you're interested in that, that's top link in my description down below. Okay, back to time management now. I've been consistently planning my time for about 3 to 4 years now. From year 10, my GCSEs, my AS levels in year 12, and even my A levels in year 13. One common theme throughout all of this, out of all of the days I've planned, is that I always plan my time in the evenings to prepare for the next day. That's step one, but I feel like I should explain why that actually works. The reason why people actually make plans in the first place is to simply remove decision fatigue. What this is that when you go down to sit down and do some work without planning it, you need to spend a good couple of minutes thinking about what you need to do. This in turn reduces your focus, it makes you more distracted, you're more likely to become distracted if you haven't made a plan. But why specifically in the evenings? I feel like just starting your day in the morning with full clarity and purpose of what you need to do is a must, and it will give you a head start. So if you go and sit down and plan in the morning when you wake up, you've already used some sort of brain power to formulate that plan, and that will lead to decision fatigue later on. Instead of planning in the evenings for the next day or the next week, will make sure decision fatigue does not happen. Moving on to step 2 now. What should your calendar or your plan actually look like? For me, my whole 3 to 4 years previously, I've been planning on an Excel spreadsheet. I know loads of people who use Google Calendar, or they use Google Sheets, or they just print out paper calendars and stick on their wall. Any calendar system can work if you do it properly. And what you need to do from there is to then organize your time either hour by hour or by using chunks of time. So what this means is that you plan your mornings, your afternoons, and your evenings. Or if you do it hour by hour, you plan what you're going to do from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8, to 8 to 9, just for the rest of your day. So what we need to start to think about is how you organize your time hour by hour, or in the chunks that we've just mentioned, and that leads us on to step 3. It'll be really easy for me to just say, plan your time hour by hour and leave it at that. But I wanted to make this a lot easier for you. The way that I made it easier for myself when I was planning my time was by using blocks of time. So what I had was a studying block, an exercise block, maybe a second studying block, my downtime, spending time with my family. I had all of these in blocks of time that I would put during my day when I was planning hour by hour. Each of my studying blocks, my exercise blocks, were between 2 to 3 hours, but that's not restrictive. You can spend an hour studying or up to 4 hours studying, so long as you have it in just one consistent block of time. I'll put an example of my time blocking over here somewhere. So what you can see is that in the mornings at around 6 o'clock, I start my studying block. That lasts between 2 to 3 hours. I take a rest, so the lighter green. Then I go to exercise. Take another rest for an hour, then I study again, then I just have the evenings to myself to spend with my family. This is a really simple level of planning. Notice how it doesn't really have any details yet. We'll add the details later on in the video, but for now we just need to have a basic outline of how we intend to spend our day. When do you want to study? When do you want to exercise? When do you want to go out with your friends? When do you want to study again? You need to think about that for yourself, put them into time blocks, and just place them throughout your day. It does not have to be elaborate. Notice how mine is really boring, and probably that means the more boring your routine is or your plan is, the more likely you are to follow it, because it's quite easy to follow. So now moving on to step 4, we're going to start adding details into these time blocks so that we don't get decision fatigue, as I mentioned in step 1. If you say you're just going to study at 6 a.m. for a couple of hours, but not having specific tasks in there, when it comes to studying at 6 o'clock, you'll have to make decisions over what you need to do. We do not want to make those decisions, so we'll do them in the evening before. The way you do this in the evening before is by placing all of your tasks that you need to cover in order of priority in a list. Say I've got 3 tasks. I've got a maths homework, an English homework, and some revision for a physics exam. What you have to realize is that the physics exam revision is a priority. So I'll put that at the top of my list. Then, depending on how hard the maths or English is, you'll put them next and the one after that. So let's say for now, I've got my physics revision at the top, then maths, then English. That is my order of priority. Then you need to think about how long each of these tasks will take. Let's say my physics will take an hour, my maths will take half an hour, and English will take half an hour as well. When you're now looking to place these tasks into your time block that we made earlier on, you have to think about, can these tasks actually fit? So let's say at 6 o'clock again, I start studying. And if I only was going to study for 1 hour, the thing I would do was to place my physics revision block in that time. But seeing as I've planned for 3 hours, I can place my physics revision and my maths and my English into that time block to get them all done. But one problem some people may run into when doing this is, what should you do with incomplete tasks? Let's say your maths homework took 2 hours by accident because it was just simply way harder than you expected. That's perfectly fine, but that would have meant that your English did not get done. This shouldn't be a worry because that task can simply go into your next to-do list in the following evening. Let's say one evening you planned the 3 tasks I mentioned earlier. You didn't quite manage to finish all of them. Simply just place that task that you didn't complete into your next to-do list the evening afterwards. I have a thing called a rolling to-do list. That means I constantly add to it, remove tasks when I finish it, but then also place the tasks in order of priority based on how important they are. Sometimes it turns out that a task that I planned to do a couple of days ago doesn't actually get done because it starts falling to the bottom of my pecking order of priority. One thing that I started to do was to place those incomplete tasks at the beginning of your session, no matter if it's a priority or not. The reason why this works is because it turns your study session into a rolling study session. So it never really gets complete. It just pauses temporarily so that you can start it again on the next day. And the final thing, step 6, is actually trying to stick to the plan. How are we going to do this? The one thing that I've done for my whole 3 to 4 years is have my plan constantly visible to me as I'm studying or as I'm preparing to study. Having a plan around you gives you a little bit of accountability that you actually need to stick to it. There's been so many times where I didn't have it around me and I know I need to do certain tasks and they just simply don't end up getting done, solely because I don't have that level of accountability with myself, with my plan, to actually go and get them done. And the final thing to end off step 6 is to constantly update your plan with the realistic things you did during the day. So let's say you plan to study 3 hours in the morning, then exercise for 3 hours, then study again in the evening for a couple of hours. But if it turns out that you actually studied for 2 hours in the morning, you only exercise for 1 hour, then you also studied for 1 hour again in the afternoon, put that on your calendar, put that on your plan, because it makes you realize that maybe I can't do as much as I think. We're often overly optimistic over the amount we think we can do. And so by giving ourselves a reality check, by adjusting our plan to what we actually did, it will help us to inform our plans in the future because we know what we are now capable of. And yeah, that's the way I manage my time for the whole 3 to 4 years before my A-levels. It really does work. I got 3 A stars my A-levels and 1 A, and now I'm studying at Imperial. So I think it's going to be the same system I'm going to use when I go to study at Imperial, solely because I've become really, really good at knowing what I need to do and just putting it into times during my day which I'll actually stick to and follow. That should be your ultimate goal, and if you do want more help with this, my 90-minute masterclass down below will give you the time management stuff I spoke about in this video, a bit more on that, and a whole system to start integrating revision into your life. So if you did find this video useful, top link in my description is the masterclass as I just said, and I'll see you in the next video.